the extent of the opportunities currently in the Turkish market. Obviously, there's been a bit of a geopolitical situation in Turkey and Syria the last few weeks, but I know that Eran's going to sort of talk a little bit about that as well. So please welcome Eran, and he'll tell you about the opportunities in the Turkish market.
Dear colleagues and representatives of the leading financial world, firstly I would like to express my honor and gratitude to become a member of Merger Alliance, as it is over 25 countries worldwide and had a transaction deal volume of over 33 billion euros since 2010. I am sure the Istanbul office will add to the growth of Merger Alliance, Turkey and the region. Before I start my speech, I also would like to wish good health to my good friend Mark Bond. He is not among us because of some health issues. He is a friend of mine from 25 years ago when I was in London, a board member of Sabancı Bank. We were friends at the time, so it was a coincidence we found each other, and I immediately flew to London and learned about Merger Alliance and shared our strengths and opportunities of Turkey, and now here I am. Now we have a very limited time, so we are trying to make very short, but just going fast over the opportunities. Brexit. I think Brexit is going to bring a lot of opportunity. The British investors may seriously consider investing in Turkey and the region. There will be shifts from Europe to our region, that is one thing. On the other hand, USA and China trade war also will have a positive impact on the Turkish exports. Low labor costs and high quality. Turkey is a real manufacturing base for many international brands. And also the resolution in Syria, I'm going to talk about it because it's a very hot topic as the world is following what's happening there. There's going to be a huge construction and infrastructure investments when the war is over. And as you all know, by yesterday evening, there has been positive progress between Pence, Trump's vice president, and our president, Mr. Erdogan, Tayyip Erdogan. They shook hands, and it seems that the peace is not too far, and that is going to create a lot of opportunity with the Turkish construction companies and the global players in the consortiums. And also recently Turkey had a Turkish lira devaluation, and with the last 10-15 years Turkish economy has grown immensely. I mean, it's been like 3 times as much. I'm going to introduce my friend shortly. He's going to give you statistics and real figures about the Turkish economy in depth. Turkey will continue to be the rising star of the region and will be amongst the top 10 strongest economies in the world by 2023. Now I want to introduce my friend, Mr. Gino Costa. He's from the Presidency of Republic of Turkey Investment House. And afterwards I will continue my presentation. Mr. Costa, please.
Thank you, Eran Bey. I have to find my presentation here. Meanwhile, I'm an Italian national who has been working around the world, out of which 11 years in Turkey, and this is where my connection to Turkey comes. Why invest in Turkey? Yes, that's it. So I've been leading companies and making them investing in Turkey in the past. I was there till 2009. And this is why, thank you. And this is why the headline of my presentation is yes, a great return on investment for Turkey. Yes, lots of opportunities, but lots of concrete and solid facts. First of all, let me tell you, since a year I'm the country advisor for Italy of the investment office of the Presidency of the Republic of Turkey. This is one of the 4 strategic offices of Turkey, reporting directly to the President of the Republic, so the head of executives. The other 3, just to give you an idea, are human resources, budget, strategic budget, digital transformation of the country, and then the investment office. So it is the official agency for investment promotion in Turkey. It is fully owned by the government, so it offers free of charge services to the companies around the world who are intending to come to Turkey and invest in Turkey. And these services range from information about the sectors, the market, and finding sites, greenfield for brownfield or greenfield investments, accompanying the company through setting up process and getting all the incentives which are foreseen by the law for the different types of investments. It has been established in 2007 and it is headquartered in Ankara and Istanbul. So, facts. Turkey is a big market. It's the 13th economy of the world at purchasing parity power, just behind Italy and ahead of South Korea. In the last 15 years, or in the period between 2003 and 2007, the average growth of the GDP in Turkey has been 5.8%, with a couple of 3 prices, normally short, so it's a volatile market anyhow, it's an emerging market, but the average gives you an idea of what is the trend. Last year, the overall growth has been 2.6%. In the first semester, 6.8% in fact, and as you may remember, and Mr. Trump was reminded it a couple of days ago, he devastated the Turkish economy last summer due to a tension for a pastor, and the Turkish lira basically halved its value in a couple of months, which has partially recovered nowadays. So the GDP growth for 2019 is expected to be 2.8% again, positive. 2 facts which are important, very important to me, especially because as I'm Italian, so the ratio gross public debt to GDP, and I say I'm Italian, you know that Italy is probably the second after Japan, with 130% ratio of debt over GDP. The average in Europe is 84%, and in Turkey is 30%. So it's not a very much indebted country, with a good, a normal ratio between the budget balance and the GDP, which is around 3%. Here it's indicated in 1.4% because it is net of energy expenses. Nowadays, Turkey is still a net energy importer, massive energy importer. But including energy expenses, it is around 3%, which is 2.8%. Strong financial fundamentals. One indicator, the non-performing loans ratio. In 2018, it has been reported at 3.9%, and you see here on the table to the right, in the right graph, other important countries. So in the first 2 quarters of this year, it has slightly worsened to 4.1%, which is still a very good ratio, I would say. A strong value of Turkey is its population. It's 80 million people now, around 81 million. It's expected to grow till 91 million in 2027. And it is a very young, productive, dynamic population with an average age of less than 32 years of age, compared to the European Union average of 43 years, or the German ones of 46 years. It is a robust economy based on large metropolitan centers. There are 20 cities in Turkey which have more than 1 million people, and they are scattered around the country. Naturally, the big center is Istanbul with 15 million people approximately. Then comes Ankara and Izmir, but many more are around the country, consuming and demanding a lot. Finally, it is a big market for automotive. It's the 15th largest manufacturer in the world of automotive products. 1.6 million vehicles have been produced in 2018. Just to give you an idea, we are in Italy. Italy is known to be an automotive producer. Last year it was 1,050,000, unfortunately. Machinery and electrical equipment. Turkey is the largest European manufacturer of white goods. Aerospace and defense, a massive budget, as we see nowadays, for defense, $19 billion, but also 210 million passengers flown around by Turkish Airlines. Energy, apologies for the typing problems there. Energy, it's a market of $66 billion with still lots of opportunities and plans for renewables energies investments. Agri-food, it's a market of $80 billion and $17 billion dollars are exported every year. Infrastructure, where the headline means is there, infrastructure, $127 billion have been invested in the last 15 years, mostly with the project financing. They haven't affected, they have developed a lot the infrastructure of the country without affecting the public debt too much. And finance, a robust growth, double-digit growth in finance sector, and still lots of potential for Islamic finance to grow. Since then, Turkey is a hub. It offers easy access to a market of 76 nations, 1.5 billion people, 24 trillion GDP. Actually, in 4 hours flight, you can reach all this area, European Union, including UK, Turkish Republics, Africa, Middle East, of course. As I say, Turkish Airlines is the airline which has more destinations in the world, 306 passenger destinations and 83 cargo destinations. And this is one of the reasons why so many companies have made Turkey their production base. Toyota exports 85% of its Turkish production, Ford 77% of its Turkish production. Nestle has their production base for Middle East and North Africa. Bosch, the fashion company, has its largest production facility in Turkey. And the same is valid for trades. Many companies, international groups, Chinese groups including, have put their base to cover a large number of countries, 80 countries in Turkey. Not only connection, of course, but also trade agreements. Turkey has trade agreements with custom unions, no customs actually with European Union, sorry. With a large number of other countries, and a free trade agreement with Iceland, Norway, Switzerland, and bilateral free trade agreements with a much larger number of countries too. This has also contributed to the big growth of exports, which has gone from $157 billion in 2017 to $168 billion last year, and still growing quarter by quarter. The main destination markets are Germany, UK, Emirates, Iraq, US, and then comes Italy, ahead of France and Spain. And the main exported goods are vehicles, machineries, but also iron and steel, plastics, minerals, and many others. Finally, Turkey is a friendly environment business to consider. It has a clear legal frame based on a Swiss civil code, in fact, and developed through the years, especially in the last 10 years, to make the environment more friendly and easier for the foreign investors. The last package is from September 2018 to make all the processes for investors and the life for investors absolutely easy. We say population, but it's highly educated population. 800,000 people are graduated from Turkish universities every year. Just to give you an indicator, Italy produces 330,000 graduates every year. And 500,000 people are graduated from technical schools. So this brings Turkey, you see to the right graphs, the red column, as one of the best, and definitely better than all the Eastern European countries for availability of qualified engineers and competent senior managers. It's a skilled workforce, but also cost effective. You see on the left side here, the labor cost per hour of a worker is less than $6 per hour, compared to France, the second one, $44, for instance, or even Bulgaria, which is close to $6. And to the right side, the senior managers, or let's say middle-level managers, with an annual cost of $42,000, including a variable portion, compare to the other countries. Well, Germany, of course, is 150,000, the average of the same qualification, just slightly more expensive than Czech Republic and Romania. It is a cost-efficient business because energy costs very little. You see Turkey in red color for gas and electricity. And it has quite a good level of taxation and social contribution, which makes it more effective than USA, Canada, slightly less effective than Poland and Hungary, and definitely much more effective than Italy, unfortunately. Getting to the end, it's a perfect environment for R&D. You can see on the bottom of the slide just few brands, few international important brands which have put in Turkey their research and development centers, or part of them. The graphs on the top show the growth of researchers and spending in R&D in the last 5 years, especially it has really high up. And the FDI inflows have been extremely positive. Last year still growing by 14% compared to the global drop of 19%. 68% of the historical FDI comes from European Union. The rest, then it comes Americas with 9%, Middle East, which is growing nowadays. And last year, just the top 3 investing countries have been Netherlands. Well, you know, for fiscal reasons, many companies are based in Netherlands. Azerbaijan in third, Italy with $509 million investments. The last slide shows here the main sectors where the foreign investment have gone. 35% to industrial sectors, 62% to services. Out of the industrial sectors, 63% is to manufacturing, 31% to energy. And in services, 58% is in financial and insurance services. Then comes information and communication, wholesales, and retail trade. And the final breakdown on manufacturing shows on the top food and beverage, followed by chemicals, petroleum products, metals, IT, and automotive can come just as a 5% of the foreign direct investment. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'd like to give the floor back to my friend Eran. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Costa, for the detailed information. Now, we have very limited time, so I'm going to highlight certain issues that I want to share with you. Now, first of all, political risk. That is very important for the investors. So, as a Turkish citizen and as a Turkish businessman, I want to share with you our side of the story about what's going on in our region. Now, first of all, we all know what we read in the social media, what we read in the articles, what we see in the television, doesn't always tell the truth. It's politics. First, I would like you all to know that the Turkish people and the Kurdish people, they don't have any problem at all. From the Kurdish ethnicity, we have prime ministers, we have even presidents elected, but unfortunately we have a problem which is called PKK and the newly named PYD, which was also agreed and approved by USA and European Union that it's a terrorist organization. That is a problem for us that is going for years. But the second problem that I want to emphasize, which is the reason behind the operation, is after the war, Turkey hosted around 4 million refugees. And European Union governments and Turkey made an agreement to contribute to the cost of this burden. Turkey spent almost over 40 billion euro for these 4 million refugees, and European Union only contributed up to 3 billion euro, nuts. They didn't keep their promise. So this money is coming out of Turkish citizens, taxpayers. So Turkey is trying to, and hopefully it will be resolved in peace, a zone, safe zone, to send back these refugees to their homeland. So this was the problem. It is not Turkey is trying to go massacre the Kurds and this and that. It's too much politics. I will be happy if you can convey your counterparts and investors what I'm sharing with you. So that was something important to be shared. Now I'm going to go very quickly. I worked in Koç Group. It was my first professional life. I'm going to go through the highlights. I will pass it because we don't have time for that. Koç Group, I worked. Sabancı Group, I worked. Zorlu Group, I'm working today. Just to give you some indications of the sizes of the companies in Turkey. Koç Group is $88 billion turnover company, and it is in many areas, and it's open for foreign investors, for acquisitions. There are many opportunities that we can specifically talk with the Turkish groups. Also, Sabancı Group, Sabancı Group, whom I spoke before I came, there are also many opportunities for joint ventures and to produce, manufacture together and export to the regions surrounding Turkey. So we are very highly connected in Turkey, so we can talk to any industry on the top level of any merger alliance member group wishes to. We can have a very fast result. Zorlu Group, just mentioned, 33% of all the televisions sold in Europe is their market share. In every 3 televisions, 1 television is manufactured by Western, but of course private label. I already mentioned the opportunity, so I'm also passing these. Now, IDE, Investment Consultancy, our firm, we have former Citicorp, KPMG, Ernst & Young, Merrill Lynch, EMEA presidents in our company. So we are a very skilled team, and we have had many acquisitions acquisitions, mergers that we can share with you, but it is not today's issue. The last thing I want to emphasize, because the Turkish lira devaluation, the Turkish companies are very, very economically feasible for foreign investors to partner or to sell shares, but more importantly, in the hands of banks. This is what I want you to pay attention to and talk with your investors or within your groups, that when the Turkish companies got loans in hard currency, but they were making their earnings in Turkish lira, all of a sudden their loans doubled. And now in the hands of Turkish banks, which we are talking confidentially, there are companies to be bought. But to buy the companies, we need to have a asset management company, which we are now establishing. So the asset managed company, we can do management buyouts at a very low cost than what the real value is. So this is an area, and this is our business model that we developed with my team. This is something I really would like to explore with Merger Alliance investors in the days to come. Thank you for your patience, and I'm very happy to join the team of Merger Alliance. Thank you for listening.